Welcome to PowerCon 2020. We are very excited to have you guys joining us today for yet another live panel being broadcast through the internet. Today, we are welcoming the teams from Mattel's Preschool division to talk about Little People and Imaginext. It should be a lot of fun. There should be some really fun discussions happening today. Before we jump into the discussion, I want to go ahead and do the usual housekeeping here at the beginning. Thank you all so much for joining us. At the bottom of your Zoom window, you will notice two buttons, one that says chat and one that says Q&A. Throughout the entirety of this panel, feel free to use the chat button to just talk to each other, chat with each other about all the exciting things being discussed within today's panel. At the very end of this panel, we'll leave about 15 to 20 minutes for Q&A. When I announce it's time for Q&A, you can then use that Q&A button to post your questions for the team, and we'll do our best to answer as many of those as we can. Please refrain from putting any questions in the Q&A until we announce it at the very end, because we will likely delete those out of there to make sure it's clean and ready to go. Also, 5 lucky winners will randomly be chosen for a free Little People 5-pack, which is very exciting stuff. So if you are here and you have a registered Zoom account, you're automatically entered into that raffle. All winners will be announced in roughly a week or so, so be sure to stay tuned to the PowerCon's official website. All right, is everybody ready to go? We ready to dive into some exciting preschool discussion? I'm going to go ahead and throw this over to Mark Bortz from Mattel. Take it away, Mark.
Thanks very much, Dan. So hi, everyone. I am Mark Bortz from the marketing team here at Fisher-Price, and we are so excited to talk to you today about two amazing brands, in Little People and Imaginext, and how we have aged down this epic property, Masters of the Universe, to make it even more accessible to younger audiences. So both Little People and Imaginext, they inspire imaginative play where kids can be masters of their own universe. Through Little People, our little ones are just starting to tell their own stories, and we provide the figures and play sets to really spark their imaginations. Then we have next Imaginext, where action takes center stage with amazing figures, innovative activations with our play sets and vehicles to bring all those different properties to life. And we are excited to talk you through some of the upcoming items we have for Motu through the lens of these two incredible global power brands. So first up is Little People. The brand has this really cool, iconic form factor, and it's recognized around the world and creates a really different, fun, and recognizable style for Masters of the Universe. We've had a ton of success with our Little People collector packs already, and fans love the opportunity to get all of their favorite characters all in one pack. And I'm going to leave it to our awesome designer, Hannah Dahl, to talk you through our Motu collector pack.
Hi, so I'm Hannah. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm one of the designers on the Little People team who's had the awesome opportunity to work on the Motu collector figures. So today I just kind of want to talk to you a little about what our design process looks like, and yeah, let's get started. All right, so next slide, please. So LP Collector is a fairly new platform where we take the iconic LP style, and then we translate it into popular cultural characters and media. And so, of course, the first step is always we have to decide what do we want to translate. For this one, it was fairly easy. Let's go with Masters of the Universe. So once we kind of decided that we wanted to do Masters of the Universe, the next thing was to decide how many or which characters we wanted to include in this set. We knew that we wanted to do 4 characters, and of course we had to have He-Man and Skeletor because those are the main characters representing the good versus the evil and just that classic property. And then the next 2, we looked at kind of the different tiers of characters because, as you know, Masters of the Universe has just an expansive list of different fun, wacky characters that we could choose from. But ultimately, we decided to go with Man-at-Arms and Beastman because they are both kind of like the main character's right-hand mans. So for the 4-pack, we decided to go with He-Man, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, and Beastman. So the first step or after that, once we actually get into the designing, is to start digitally sketching out some of the characters and translating the original character designs into the iconic Little People style. So Little People figures are very cute. They have chunky proportions and they're very friendly and inviting with their hands that are outstretched and their shining eyes and smiles and everything. And so the challenge here was to take these classic Motu characters and faithfully translate them into Little People so that when you see the figure on the shelf, one, you know that it's from Little People, but also you know immediately who the character is supposed to be. So once we kind of get the sketch down and I kind of decided which features I wanted to try to translate as best as I could into that chunky, cute style, then we go and we render them out also digitally. This is kind of the opportunity that we have to choose the colors for our figures and make sure that they're very bright and vibrant and pay proper homage to the source material. And so I tried to stay as accurate as possible to the original line that was released in the 80s. So next we go into, as I said, the cleaning, the rendering, and then this is kind of going to give us the sense of what our final product is going to look like. Once we have this all finished and we all like it, then we turn it over and we have a sculptor work on the sculpts for these pieces. And then that just kicks off a process of kind of finessing, going back and forth with the sculptor and myself, the designer, or whoever the designer is on a project. And we just start to really make sure that the details are translated the way that we want and that ultimately the final sculpt is very true to the original design intent. So after we get the sculpt all done, if you could go to the next slide, please. We have the opportunity to make them into virtual models. And so this is when we take the sculpt and we apply all of the colors and all the textures and the actual materials that we want these to be made out of so that we could see exactly what we're going to have at the end of the day. Because this was a collector line, we had the opportunity to really kind of elevate with our colors and bring in a little bit of a premium feel. So you'll see that He-Man, we decided to go with a metallic silver for his sword and his breastplate. And then for Skeletor, why not go with that shiny gold for his face? All right, next slide, please. And so while all of this design process is going on, we have our packaging people also working on how to make the box for this very, very exciting and beautiful. And because this is collector, we have a lot of artistic opportunity to bring in these paintings and just these very, very exciting elements to the packaging, such as like foil embossing for the logo, and both for Little People and the Masters of the Universe. And basically the idea is that we want this box to be as beautiful and as desirable to be displayed as the figures themselves. So yeah, that's basically the design process that we went through for the Motu Little People figures in a nutshell. And now we're going to pass it off to Imaginext, where they're going to show you some of the really cool stuff they've been working on.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. So next up, as Hannah said, is Imaginext, a top brand globally in figures and playsets, celebrating our 20th year of innovation and excitement. Imaginext is all about the action, the excitement, and inspiring kids to tell their own stories with their favorite characters. And the center of any great story, of course, starts with a great character. So I'm going to hand off to our awesome team of Imaginext designers to talk you through how they brought these Motu characters to life from their genius minds to your hands. I am pleased to introduce to you Matt Flesher, Rob Hageman, and Thom Bauer to talk through all the great work that they've done on some of these Motu items.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Yeah, like Mark just talked about, we are Imaginext. We are going into 20 years, and it's been an amazing ride. Looking at some of the comments coming in, you guys are fans, and that's fantastic. That's incredible. We are so excited, so excited to be working on Motu and getting these things out and getting these into Imaginext fans' hands that we can't even tell you. We are just can't even wait for these things to hit the shelves. A couple of things that you may not know at Imaginext's earliest inceptions, from the beginning of Imaginext. It was actually originally a building system, which many people may not know, and that's what kind of grew it into the #1 playset brand and figure brand in the world. So as these evolutions have happened over the last 20 years, we've gone from that. We've changed our figure buck style a little bit. And now that this is going to be Imaginext XL. This is a 10-inch Imaginext figure. This thing is going to be big. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be awesome. Take a look at the 3 figures that we're launching with. We're going with Skeletor, He-Man, and Beastman. Obviously, the most iconic 3 of the Motu universe. You can't do anything without these 3. This is the holy trinity right here for the Motuverse. So if you take a look, in being fans that you are, you'll probably recognize something about the Sculpted Faces. Being humans, what we do in Imaginext is we take a face and we chose not to sculpt the face on it. By doing that, what it does is it opens us up completely to reinvent every figure every time we do it. We can print a different expression, a different face, different coloring on those faces every time that we do like a non-sculpted face. But when we got to Motu, we had a choice to make. When we're presenting this to our senior team, to our senior staff, these figures, these characters are so bright and colorful. We were afraid that because of our age group, we didn't know if our kids would know who was a hero and who was a villain. So we made the conscious choice to keep the human faces clean and to highly sculpt the villains' faces, which is what you see on the screen there. So I think what that's going to do is it's going to be able to refresh He-Man every time that we put him out, but it's also going to make the 10-inch, I'm looking at my figures because they're in front of me, the 10-inch figures like super collectible and super desirable. Now to get from growing from our small scale to our big scale, Matt Flesher is the sculptor on the team and designer on the team, and he's going to talk you through how he took that process and grew the scale to get to that oversized XL figure.
Hi, yeah, I'm Matt Flesher. As Thom mentioned, our whole line of Imaginext has gone through several evolutions, as has our figure style. If anyone's been around for a long time as an Imaginext fan, they know that the figure styling has changed over the years in terms of styling, and this XL scale is just another evolution in that figure style. So in going up to the XL scale, it's a fairly new format for us. So I kind of oversaw bringing it up to that scale since I had kind of evolved the buck previously. And so in bringing it up, we first just kind of blew it up to 10 inches and realized pretty quickly that doing just a straight blow up doesn't quite work. So we had to make some tweaks to it. So we ended up to keep that same preschool feel and keep it feeling young and fun for preschoolers. We ended up having to scale up the head and the hands and the feet a little bit. We actually lengthened the legs a little bit and played with the waist and the shoulder proportions. And they're all small, subtle things, but when you look at them side by side, you get that same great fun feel. It feels good in preschoolers' hands, and it makes for a nice, chunky, fun preschool toy that captures that Imaginext feel. So if you can go to the next slide, I'm going to kick it over to Rob Hageman.
Okay, so it was really important to us to do the right assortment and the right mix. So He-Man has to be first, obviously, because we're huge fans. But we also, come on, when I was a kid, the characters that I loved the best were the villains. It's got to be the villains. So we have to bring out Skeletor and Beastman. And again, we're doing this in a larger scale initially, and then we're going to clearly do this as an open package, because you have to be able to, move the arms and move the wrists and feel the articulation and get just the overall weight and scale of these figures. Because I mean, on shelf, these things are impressive. The details are like shining through. You have like that incredibly like sculpted hood for Skeletor. Like, we spared no expense. Like, these are gorgeous, stunning figures. So we are really excited for the partnership between Imaginext and Masters of the Universe, and I can't wait to see where this partnership goes in the future. So back to Thom.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Thanks, Matt. So one of the things I want to show you guys, can you have Matt or Rob hold up a little? Can you guys hold up a figure and we see that all together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this. Oh, get your screenshots ready. Oh, I'm blowing through my background. Get your screenshots ready. This is look at my hand. Look at this figure. He is magnificent. I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Look at this guy. He is beautiful. All the way up. Oh, look at the mass of this guy in your preschooler's hands. Think about that. That is going to be something. So a couple things that you're going to notice here from the images on the screen is part of our development process where we'll go through some different color iterations. Originally, Imaginext is inspired by, so I wanted to do something a little bit different with these guys. So like a dummy, I decided to deco the eyebrows a different color and do the same hair color. But you know what? About a week ago, I threw black eyebrows on there, and he never felt right to me until he had black eyebrows. And to really understand why, the original figure had black eyebrows. So again, like what Rob was saying, we really wanted to push the classic toy from the inspiration of these guys. Now, hold on a second. Now, a couple of you guys said that you really like the Skeletor. Boom! Look at this guy. Look at him. Look at that. Look at how we're going to decorate that face. Look at the sculpted detail on his head. This is not going to scare a preschooler. They're going to love this thing. Look at this. Oh, hold on. There we go. I keep blowing up my background. But just think of this in your kids' hands, Christmas morning. Oh, they're gonna be, your kids are gonna be in love with Motu just like you were when you were a kid.
And Thom has massive hands, so you know that figure.
Yeah, you know that. And the last one, there's gonna be some real wide variance of color on Beastman here. Well, it is Beastman, and so why not, right? So check this guy out. He is just beautiful, just glorious. Look at these. I love them. When these came to my house, when our vendor shipped these to me, it was Christmas morning. I fell in love instantly. And I think that's about what we have and what we have to show you guys today. Yeah, we're just so freaking excited about these toys, about our partnership, and about where Imaginext is going to go.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So you guys keep saying you're excited about where it's going to go. So is it safe to assume that this is hopefully only the beginning of seeing this with Imaginext and little people?
if you have us back at the convention next year to talk about it, then you'll know.
Oh, that's so long to wait, but it is exciting news. It is exciting news. Excellent. Well, at this point, are you guys ready to open this up for Q&A?
I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, you can now use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window to post your questions. Keep in mind when you're asking your questions that they're probably not going to be able to give you definitive answers on specific characters if you guys are all going to ask that. But we will go through and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can, probably over the course of the next 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open this dialog box. All right, we're going to start this off with a question from B-Store that says, will the Imaginext figures shown come with any accessories to hold?
You want me to take this one?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
These figures are not going to come with accessories. We made a choice kind of early on with the XL line. We want to get a really sharp price point. These things, these XL figures are coming in at $10 at $9.99. And so to keep that sharp price point, right now we do not have accessories. We're always, looking for new opportunities and stuff. So, down the line, that may change, and we may develop another version of the XL that does come with accessories. But right now, the XL line is just a figure, just a 10-inch figure.
Very
And
cool.
a great value at $10.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's a good price point. That's
And it
awesome.
still has articulation as well.
And articulation.
Yeah, it has all the same great articulation that our 3-inch figure has. It's got wrist, shoulder, hips, and neck articulation.
Okay, so next question. This is one I'm seeing already scattered through the chat a lot, so I think it's worth bringing up. This would be for both Little People and Imaginext. Question from Ricky: will we see any of the female characters? Tila, Evelyn. I'm seeing She-Ra brought up a lot. It's just one of those things. I know it's a fan demanded thing, so I wanted to bring it up for you guys. Anything?
Mark,
Hannah, you want to go first?
Mark, what else? What are we doing?
Female figures.
Well, I mean, I can't say anything for sure, but I mean, I would love to see some female characters brought into it, but I can't really say whether or not that's something that we will see.
I mean, all of us
Maybe,
are
maybe not.
huge. All of us are huge fans of this property as much as the people that are on here. So we're as excited to dive deeper into this line wherever we have the opportunity to. We can't say whether or not something is or isn't coming, but just know that you have a lot of people working on this who are fans, who understand your requests, and excited to see what comes out in the future too.
Awesome. Yeah, for everybody asking the questions too, I think it is important to point out, this is fresh lines for both of these. So when you're asking about specific characters, they're not always going to be at liberty to discuss things that they're working on right now, past what they've already revealed. So let's keep that in mind. The next question comes from Casey. Wants to know what the 10-inch figures are made of. Is it a soft vinyl, injection plastic? Can you guys give some details?
Matt or Rob, do you know more about that? The models that we have are just a thin resin.
Yeah.
So they're real breakable, actually. The models that we have are kind of brittle, but the final product will be. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, the figures actually are they're all ABS. So they're nice light figures, but they still stand really well and have great playability, but there's not a ton of PVC parts. I know on our smaller 3-inch figures, the arms, legs, and head are all PVC. In this case, the only soft parts are the hands on these figures. The rest of them are hard plastic.
Very cool. All right, next question is for Little People. This comes from Steve. Wants to know, what was the reasoning for the gold coloration on Skeletor's face over the more common yellow?
So the main reason was because it is a collector pack. We really wanted to push that kind of like that premium aspect to it. And so bringing that metallic gold as kind of a counterpart to the metallic silver that was on He-Man was why we went for that direction with Skeletor.
Excellent. Okay, here's a fun question for you guys. This comes from Rebecca. Rebecca says, I am 10 years old, and I want to know, how do I become a toy designer?
You go to school.
Yeah, go to art school.
Yeah. Start drawing. Just practice drawing every day.
Yep.
Yeah, learn about manufacturing processes as well. Like every time you get a new toy, look at how was this made, try to explore that aspect too.
Yeah, take your toys apart.
Yeah, take things apart and try to
break them and try to put them back together.
You would be amazed. You will take something apart and you'll be able to see like changes that were made. You'll find toys that actually had speaker grills, had spots for electronics, and they were costed out. But you'll know that designer wanted.
She's 10. She's 10. Give her good advice.
It is good advice. Take things apart. Figure out how things work. Hannah's right. Like, the more you know about manufacturing, the better.
Yeah.
Like, study the parting lines of all the toys that you have. See how things are molded, and draw every day.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that you love, because that's all that we do. We just reference the things that we love, that we grew up with as children, and then you got to work with really good people. Like everybody on this panel, these people are like my great friends. Like this is a great job.
Yeah,
You should be a toy designer. It is a ton of fun.
All right, next question comes from Barris. You guys have spoken a little bit about like collector stuff, but also with the preschooler in mind. So this question says, what's the actual age group that you're targeting with these figures?
For little people, it's actually on our box. We are targeting ages 1 to 101. So everyone.
Yeah, and for us, we're a 3+, but we're going for 3+, and like probably not to the extreme that Hannah's going, because we do know that there is a collector base out there that we really would love to get these figures into their hands. But again, focusing on our core kids, and our core is 3 to 5. So those are the kind of the ones that we're really focusing on.
Excellent. All right, next question is for the Imaginext team from Action Figure Insider. What was behind the decision to paint the gauntlets on He-Man, but not on Skeletor?
Oh, Thom, you're getting called out.
I'm comfortable with this answer because it's really reminiscent to the original toys that came out. If you look at Naked Gauntlets on He-Man, it's kind of jarring. If you look at Naked Gauntlets on Skeletor, it kind of blends in. So we don't lose a lot of equity by not painting his gauntlets. And again, it is real reminiscent and kind of like a wink and a nod to the actual original Skeletor that came out, because those things were very low deco.
All right, next question is a kind of a twofer, but they go together. So this is David wants to know what retail stores these are going to be available in and if they're exclusives. And Daniel wants to know what the release date is for them.
What was that second part?
What the release date is for the figures.
Oh.
So is that for just the Imaginext figures or for the little people?
Let's answer for both. Let's answer for both.
Okay, so little people, they're actually available now. I don't know if they're sending them out yet, but you can definitely order them on Big Bad Toy Store. And then eventually they will become available on Amazon.
Nice. Mark, say marketing words.
Marketing words. Coming to a store near you soon. Is that ambiguous enough?
That's ambiguous.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of very similar questions here regarding Imaginext. So I think this is a really good one right here from Teddy. What went into the decision to release 10-inch action figures before the classic Imaginext scale with play sets?
Who wants this one?
Mark.
Mark does.
Mark does. Mark wants this one.
So for the 10-inch scale, we launched 10-inch scale in other properties, and we've seen a tremendous amount of excitement around them. So we just want to continue to build on that universe and that scale to continue to expand the Imaginext universe. And we can't say what's coming, but there's more coming. So just be as excited as we are.
It really is a soft introduction into this, like what a corporate company wise with being Fisher Price, it is the handoff from little people to Imaginext, and that's kind of how we've always gone, like the pass off of the kids who kind of maybe not quite age out of little people, but then they naturally graduate into Imaginext. So that's kind of one of the other reasons why that we're making that choice to do that.
Excellent. There's a lot of similar questions related to little people, Hannah, and I know you can't go into a lot of details, but there does seem to be a lot of support here for more little people outside of just the collector set. Is that something you can speak to?
Fortunately, no, not at this time.
Not at this time. Okay. Okay. Not a problem at all, guys. I know, I understand it's tough because there's not a lot that you guys can say at this time, and your hands are kind of tied, and we're like I mentioned, we're just kind of dipping our toes in here and seeing the very first things for little people and Imaginext, and it is exciting, and we're really happy to have you guys here. We're going to do a couple more questions before we wrap things up today. Brad wants to know if the larger Imaginext figures have action features or if they're just standard action figures.
They are.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
They're standard action figures. But like we said, they have the identical articulation as the 3-inch figures. So they've got a nice ball jointed shoulder, which I know a lot of other large figures don't have. And it's got the wrist articulation plus head and hips. So pretty fun toy to play with.
Cool. All right, so this one comes from Hero Dan TV, and this is a good sales type question. He wants to know, what's the criteria to continue on with a line from year to year? Is it solely based on sales numbers, or are there other factors that impact that?
Wow.
Yeah, got you guys now.
Do I see everybody looking at me?
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes. Most definitely.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. I can't hear you again. You know what? The cold hard truth of the world of toys and almost anything you see on shelf is a lot of it comes down to sales. There are some other factors that come into it, but if you, the fans, go out there and buy, there's a good chance that you will see more and more things appear on shelf the more that you buy. Because it comes down to the retailers and everybody along the chain has to be successful. So the more successful the line, the longer you will see it out there and the more you will see it out there.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Next question comes from Joseph, and this is for both teams. This is just an imaginary world right here. What would be your favorite character to introduce into your respective line?
Stinkor.
I think Trapjaw.
Yes. Yeah.
He's real dumb, but
She-Ra. Sorry, go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
sorry. I think he's real dumb, but Stratos. Ever since I was a kid.
You know why you love him so much.
I know, right?
You love that guy.
I would love to see She-Ra turned into little people. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, mer-man too. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Mothman.
and Mosquitour, right?
Yeah. Every comment that they're saying, all those.
Every
And-
comment, yeah. There's a ton. I love seeing all the names right now. It's amazing.
Yes, because that's yes, all of the yes. We want to do them all for sure.
Tinted Stinkor would be amazing.
Stinkor would be great. He'd be my second choice.
You'd have to make them smell, though. Are you guys gonna make them stink?
Yes, of course. The patchouli.
Kids play with him. There's a chance that he's going to stink after anyways.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
looking up
so
his characters is great.
cool. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place, everybody. This is very unprofessional. Okay. So the next one is more of a comment. I wanted to read this for you guys. This comes from Jay. Jay says, I just want to thank both teams for giving me a way to introduce my grandson to Masters of the Universe. I think that is a really cool sentiment there and is probably a great place to close off the Q&A. I'm really sorry if I couldn't get to every single question. A lot of the questions were very similar to one another, but thank you guys all so much for all of the comments and the interaction. Was there any final words from any of you guys? Anything else you wanted to say before we wrap things up today?
I think it is important to say that we're as big as fans as you guys are, and we will do everything in our power to do the best job possible. This is like one of my favorite toy lines in the world, and I never, ever, ever thought I would ever be able to work on it. So we take the responsibility very responsibly. It wasn't rehearsed, man. I'm just being honest.
No, it's perfect.
It's a
That's a
passion
perfect
project.
sentiment.
Hannah, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say it was awesome to be able to represent little people today. And I'm just really glad that I was able to share some stuff with you guys.
Excellent. All right. Well, I want to give a very special thanks once again to the teams from both Little People and Imaginext over at Mattel for joining us today for this amazing panel. Thank you guys so much for the presentation and kind of showing us what we can expect from these two brand new iterations of Masters of the Universe. It is really exciting stuff. And thanks to everybody who joined us today watching at home for this very weird year, but we're glad we can still bring PowerCon to you guys to bring you some excitement relating to the Masters of the Universe brand. There's still a lot more stuff to come this weekend from PowerCon. The next panel on the schedule is the reveal of the new tabletop RPG game, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us for The Power of Preschool from PowerCon 2020. Until next time, my friends.